Get rolling at
Put your
6
mic
o'clock.
in your face and you can
Are
ask
you ready?
questions. Yes, sir.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Leavenworth Preservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, September the 5th. We barely have a quorum. That's our first order of business, to determine quorum, and we have 4 people. The minutes for the August 1st meeting, I would take a motion on that, but I discovered a small correction. It indicated that Sherry Whitson was not here, but when we did our call, Mr. Otto moved to accept the minutes with the necessary correction, and then it says it was seconded by Miss Whitson, but she wasn't here. So I think it was maybe, was it Miss Denny that seconded it? And I think maybe it was, yeah. So maybe we need to make that official correction that it was not Miss Whitson because she was absent.
Yep, we can check
Okay.
the tape.
All righty. There is no old business, so we'll move right into the agenda for new business, which is a major review for the rehab on 1128 Fifth Avenue, commonly known as the Carroll Historic Mansion. So Julie, I'll go ahead and call for the staff report, if you would, please.
Sure. As you said, this is a state law review for the property at 1128 Fifth Avenue. The applicant is the Leavenworth County Historical Society. The property is generally known as the Carroll Mansion, and this is on the National Register of Historic Places, which is why we are reviewing it. And I will just note before we start that there is a little bit of an error in my policy report.
Okay.
The second paragraph under the staff analysis was just a leftover from some cutting and pasting I did from other policy reports, so you can just X out that whole second paragraph
Okay.
under staff analysis, as it is not even relevant.
Okay.
The proposal involves an approximately 5,000 square foot, 2-story research center and storage space to be added on to the existing Carroll Mansion. The addition would be constructed as a completely separate building behind the existing mansion, connected by just a breezeway between the two buildings. As part of the addition, they are proposing the addition of 17 parking spaces as part of this. As you are probably aware, the only parking right now is an existing circular drive. So parking is kind of at a premium for any visitors that come to the center. So this new parking lot would be part of that. The addition is designed to blend in visually with the existing home. The materials and style of the addition would match what is there. So it would just kind of be a seamless visual transition. And it is located completely behind the mansion. So there would be actual minimal visibility from the street to begin with. So just to go over the required reviews that we have to go through, the first is that a property shall be used for its historic purpose or be placed in a new use that requires minimal change to the defining characteristics of the building and its site and environment. Like I said, the existing structure will undergo no physical changes, and the proposed addition will be constructed in a way so as to disrupt the aesthetic of the property as minimally as possible. Number 2 is that the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided, and there is no removal of historic materials or features proposed with this. The third is that each property shall be recognized as a physical record of its time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjectural features or architectural elements from other buildings, shall not be undertaken, and there are no physical changes to the existing structure that are proposed. 4 is most properties change over time. Those changes that have acquired historic significance in their own right shall be retained and preserved. And again, there are no changes proposed to the existing mansion that has undergone a number of additions throughout its life. And again, none of that is being touched or altered. Number 5, distinctive features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a historic property shall be preserved. And again, no existing historic features, finishes, or construction techniques will be altered. Number 6, deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature shall match the old in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities, and, where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be substantiated by documentary, physical, or pictorial evidence. And the proposed changes, again, do not involve any portion of the existing historic structure. Number 7, chemical or physical treatments such as sandblasting that cause damage to historic materials shall not be used. The surface cleaning of structures, if appropriate, shall be undertaken using the gentlest means possible. And there are no chemical or physical treatments proposed for the existing structure. Number 9, significant archaeological resources affected by a project shall be protected and preserved. If such resources must be disturbed, mitigation measures shall be undertaken. And there are no known archaeological resources existing on site for preservation. And then number 9, new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction shall not destroy historic materials that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with the massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historic integrity of the property and its environment. So on this proposed addition, it will have minimal impact on the existing structure as it will be constructed wholly separate structure. As I said, just connected by an enclosed walkway. And the design of the proposed addition is compatible with the aesthetic of the existing mansion to create a seamless visual transition. And then finally, new additions or adjacent or related new construction shall be undertaken in such a manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired. And again, the proposed addition is being constructed completely separately from the existing mansion, so if at some point in the future it were to be removed, the mansion would be undisturbed. So staff would recommend approval of the request based on the analysis and findings. We do have the applicants here, and as well as the architect, and so I will let them speak to the process and what they're hoping to achieve with this addition and sort of where they're at in that, and they could answer any questions for you, and I can as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Julie. We need to back up because I really failed to call for a motion for the, for the, I'm just looking over my agenda, and we need to really do a motion for the minutes for the last meeting.
I so move that the minutes be accepted with the necessary corrections.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes from the last meeting as amended. Begin the voting with Ms. Denny.
Aye.
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 That passes 4-0. Okay, thank you. Minor technical
Yes.
correction. So let's open the public hearing, and anybody that wishes to speak for or against this proposal, come on up. I'm sure there's some people in the audience that wish to speak for this proposal. Just tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Christy Johnson. I work for Benmore Studio in Manhattan, Kansas. I was the designer for this proposal, and I'll start off talking about our process a little bit. The Carroll Mansion in Leavenworth County Historical Society is venturing to do a project like this because they're out of space in the Carroll Mansion, and they have 30,000 glass negative photographs that are being improperly stored right now. So the options for them are to build this addition or to abandon the mansion and move to another location, which that's not good for the Carroll Mansion because that risks other owners not properly taking care of it. So it'd be ideal for them to be able to stay at the site at 1128 Fifth Avenue. And so we wanted to, as Julie was mentioning, design a project that would provide a minimal disturbance of the site, and I think we've found a way to do that and still meet all the other programmatic requirements of the museum. We propose a red brick paver parking lot to match the style of the neighborhood, as well as the existing circular drive. Lots of features of the proposal match the details of the Carroll Mansion, but I believe that they're in a way that is distinguishable, that this building is not original to the mansion. And I think this could be a really great step forward for not only the Historical Society, but also Leavenworth as it would provide a place for research to happen and education of early Kansas history, as well as Leavenworth County. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Please, questions? Anybody? I have one question. The retaining walls that you're going to be building for, especially for the second level parking, what will, are those going to be like, you indicate it won't be like concrete, it will be stone walls?
Correct.
Or what's the proposal there?
We could do a stone wall, like you're saying, or in the practice, they're known as landscape walls, so they're kind of like split face CMU blocks. They don't have such a harsh look as concrete,
Right.
or even, you know, the even face CMU. So we're looking at a few different options, weighing budget and aesthetic there. But I think we can find a way to make it look okay and not have to do a harsh concrete wall there, because I think that would hurt the integrity of the site.
They're just retaining walls for the earth. There's no structural need for anything that would require the concrete. It's just they're just like a berm.
Yeah,
okay.
to keep the earth from spilling over the parking lot.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And there is no elevator in this building, is that correct?
That's correct.
And there's no requirement for ADA for this building to have an elevator, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So we designed it so you can have access from the upper parking lot to the upper floor. So there's a ramp to the second floor if,
There is a ramp for the second floor. I guess I kind of missed that. Okay, great,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Questions from the commission?
Well, for me, because I live pretty close to there, so I have a chance to walk by, I was appreciative of how you kind of hidden this behind the building itself, because I made it a point to walk past there like last night after dark to go, okay. So I'm kind of gratitude extended to you for doing that. The only other question I had was, when you talked about the parking spaces, I know the loop's kind of difficult now as it is. So will that be a straight-in access to the back portion of the building?
yeah, that's the idea. And then we could put signs or arrows to kind of direct traffic around that loop as a one-way to drop off people. And the intention would not to let people park there anymore and just use it as a drop-off for someone in a wheelchair or a walker.
Okay. That was my only. that
The
was my-
space that you're using will pretty much eliminate the herb garden in the back. I am assuming that will be gone, and a couple of mature walnut trees will also disappear in this project.
Yes,
that right?
the walnut trees will have to be taken out, but the footprint of the building is actually just in that yard area.
Okay.
And where the master gardeners take care of the garden, that's still
That
undisturbed.
will still be, it won't go
Yeah.
back that far, okay, okay. What are you gonna do with the wood from the walnut trees? I don't know. It should really be for sale, and that's probably some really great lumber. I hope that the society will contact somebody that can use that, because they could probably get some decent money for that wood, yeah. Sure, please, come on up. Tell us who you are.
Toby Brown, husband of Mary Ann Brown, which should tell you everything now. I just want to point out something I've been harping on with this group forever, and that is the ADA compliance.
Yes.
We don't have restroom facilities that's available for the general public.
That's true.
Now, what kind of operation can you do anymore without that? And secondly, handicap access is very much on my mind. And so with this facility, we'll have a place where if you notice the parking spots,
Yes.
most of them are handicap access right there by the door. And so for the first time, we'll be able to park there, those folks will be able to park there and get into the building, because what they do is they have lots of programs and they want to have more programs. And every time they do, they've been very well received, 40, 50 people. And those people that really have difficulty walking, let alone if they're in a wheelchair, can't come up from the street to that because that's a steep hill. And so this is going to solve that problem for us. The access to the upper floor is, if I understand it correctly, is mainly going to be a storage area. So all the public will be right there on that first floor. We're also looking at, for an ADA compliant entry into the museum where we can use that circular drive and they can come right onto the front porch at an almost level access, one step up, which a ramp could easily accommodate, and they can go right into the front door. So we don't have to build a series of ramps in the front of the building to distract from its architecture. So everything seems to really click together. I just wanted to point that out because I think that's one thing that we've been really aware of, is getting it so that the folks that come to these meetings can actually get in the building.
Good point. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Anyone else wish to speak to the commission at this time? The floor is open. I don't believe. Yes, come on. We're excited about it. Okay. All right. Questions, other questions for the commission at all before we move on down the road here?
No, this was a great step.
Okay. Hearing no one else wishing to speak for or against, we'll close the public hearing and we'll call for a vote. This will be a vote for the major certificate of appropriateness for the Carroll Mansion. The address is 1128 Fifth Avenue. So we'll begin voting, I guess, with Mr. Otto.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
And that passes 4-0. Congratulations and move forward, onward and upward. Okay. There is no other business that I'm aware of. Is there anything else, Julie, that we need to know?
I will just note that we do have an item for next month on the agenda.
Yes.
It's a review of 202 Potawatomi. That's the property that you all had looked at in July, I believe, that the city had placed on a demolition list. And so you'll be reviewing that again and the applicant's progress.
Did you say it's on the demolition?
Yes.
Yes, still, it's not, was never removed from the
Yes,
demolition.
so you'll all be reviewing it. I think it's October 5th is your meeting.
No, it's
Does that
the
sound-
3rd.
The 3rd. The 3rd, and then the city commission will review it on October 9th. So the following week after you all have had a chance to look at it again and,
Unfortunately, I will not be here for the October
Okay.
3rd meeting. I will be out of town.
okay.
Actually coming back to town on that day.
Has anything
What are we
been
gonna do
done?
without you?
Well, Mr. Otto, I guess, will take over.
I'll be
He'll
here.
be quite capable.
So support him, please.
That's right.
So we need
And Rick,
another
you
person
said
to
you'll be
show up?
gone as well.
I'll still be gone, yes.
John's got it.
Oh, no.
Hopefully John will be here, right?
Hopefully we'll have a quorum.
Hopefully we'll have 4.
I'll take over.
Get the word out early, I guess, Michelle.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Okay, motion to adjourn.
so.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right.
But
All in
Ed, to
favor,
answer your
say aye.
question, they haven't pulled any building permits.
Okay.
Okay. All done?
All done?
Done.
All done?
Perfect. Thank you all.
All right.